Do the iCloud. All right. We are going to be recording. Again, I hope that we're live. We should be live in Family Tree. I'm pretty sure we are. Okay, great. So I'm hoping that we're live. I'm not really sure if we are, but if you are just joining and you are seeing us live, my name is Becky Colburn. I am Cari Briner's sidekick down here in Florida, and she and I do life together through EXP, and she's asked me to sit in for her. Thank you, Michael, for letting me know I'm live. I am sitting in for her while she is out spending quality time with her family, although I know she can't stand it. I know she's listening here. So I'm going to do my best to live up to her amazing, amazing presence that she usually has here. And we're going to have the wonderful Julie Younger with us today. Now, here's the cool thing about Julie. Well, first of all, she's just a really cool chick. I love her a lot. And the second thing is that I think it's really important that when you hear from people and what they are doing to grow their business, whether it be through agent attraction or whether it be through just, you know, their business, their real estate business, I think it's really important that we hear from people that are actually involved in doing it, making mistakes, succeeding, and they've got really live examples of what they've done to fail and succeed. And they're actually not, it's not just a concept that they're thinking about putting into place, but they've actually done it. So Julie, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Julie, so we're here today to talk a little bit about, and I'm so excited about this because I'm a cold caller. I'm like Darren. I can cold call all day long, right? And yet there's something fun about putting on events, getting into relationship with people, and really coming from contribution. And so I'm so excited to learn about how you are leveraging your relationships and events to attract agents. So first of all, for everybody, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been with EXP, and where you're out of, and then we'll jump right into this because I know people are definitely excited about this conversation.
Okay. Okay, well, super quick. I'm actually in 2005, I got my general contractor's license to build homes. 2006, I got my real estate license to sell the homes I build. My dad's a builder. My stepmom was a real estate agent. I wanted to do all the things. So in Oregon and Washington, I got my real estate license back in 2006. And 2010, I branched off on my own, just Julie Younger Realty. I was all by myself, never had any brokers under me. And in 2018, I went to a CE credit 3-hour investment property seminar, and the agent that was putting it on had just moved from KW to EXP, went to a lunch and learn because I had reached out to her about a spreadsheet. Next thing you know, I'm coming home and I told my husband, I'm going to move my license to EXP. And he was like, what? You don't share your commissions with anyone. Why would you do that? And I'm like, well, it's not about the money. I said, I'm alone over here and I just don't want to be alone anymore. And this company is technology and it just felt right. I was one of those agents that it didn't take long. I was just like, okay, I'll come. And I say the same thing as everybody else says. I should have done it so long ago. But I told my husband, you do construction, I'll do real estate. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. I really want to try and focus on one thing. And today I'm iconing officially for the 4th time. And I've been with EXP now for 4.5 years.
Wow. You were one of those agents that Darren talks about. Darren Isaac is on here. And if you guys didn't catch Darren's rev share call that we did, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I'm not sure. Watch it. But Julie, you're one of those agents that he talks about. You were swimming towards the boat.
Yes.
You were ready.
I normally don't make decisions that fast, to be honest. And I usually ask by 15 people their opinions before I make one. And this one, I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, and it wasn't agent attraction that I saw. I think I was just at a point in I mean, my gate was open, right? My door, it was open, and I was ready to hear. It's just like Gene Frederick always says, if their gate is open, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, as Hank always says. And so I was ready, and I moved, and I dug in. I actually, well, I joined in November, and my official year is December 1st month, but January 1, 2019 is when I really put my head down and just started grinding. And I've been journaling every day since January of 2019, and I haven't missed a day. I plugged into all the tools within EXP. I started reading books, and I didn't even think I had read a book since high school, if I even had read one then. And but I was reading all the things, right? Think and Grow Rich, and The Go Giver, and I mean all of it. I was reading it all. And then I was getting on social media for the first time. I was one of those stalkers that I think I had 50 people on my Facebook, but I started growing that and started doing videos, and I just started growing. And it wasn't until my first year I sold 16 homes. No, I take it back. I told 18 homes. I've been saying 16, and then when I looked in my back office, it said 18. I was like, what? So I sold 18 homes my first year with EXP. The second year I sold 32 homes, and then 34 homes, and then 30 homes. So this year I'm on track to selling way more than that, because my year doesn't end until December 1st. And every year I capped sooner and I icon sooner every single year, even this time by 7 days. So
Wow.
it's kind of crazy. And I'm tracking it all because Hank has me doing my one sheet, which is super, super important. I highly recommend that to everybody. Know your numbers. But so I didn't really start doing attraction until November of 2019. So 11 months in, and I had people talking about agent attraction, but I was like, oh, I'm focusing on, real estate. And I actually, the first guy I ever recruited, I'll just tell you quick. I was up in Washington, and I think I showed 30 homes, no joke, to this one guy who actually never ended up buying a house. But I sat up at this bar to have lunch, and I wanted to make sure that the bartender didn't think this was my date. So I mentioned that we were out looking at homes and showing properties, and the guy behind the bar said, oh, I'm studying to get my license. And I'm like, what? So I gave him my card, and then I pursued him. Like, I would go in there and have lunch just by myself. I would check on him and all this stuff. Showed him the model. He came to EXP, and he is now a 2-time icon producer.
Nice.
And he's was a brand new agent. So super proud of him. And since then, I started actually, I've done the whole thing, throw up EXP all over everybody, and bring on brand new agents. I've heard Darren's story, and I kind of am following in his footsteps a little bit, in that I did bring in brand new agents, and now they're starting to fall off because they're not producing. Although I am working hard on my people that I have brought on. And Friday, I looked in my back office, and I actually hit 10 FLQAs. 10. So I'm super stoked about that. I have 16 on my front line, and now 10 FLQAs. So and it's
incredible.
12. Soon to be 12, because there's 2 agents that are actually closing stuff this week and 1 next week. So
16 on your front line, 10 FLQAs, soon to be 12.
Yeah.
And you've been working on this since November 19. Okay, you just gave us a lot of information. I want to backtrack a little bit, because for those of you that are watching, and I'm actually looking at these comments and stuff, I just want to, if I turn my head, I'm looking at my other screen to make sure I'm not missing anybody who's watching live. So question that I have for you, a couple of things. First of all, we need to get you on a production call on Family Tree so that you can share with everyone how you went from 16 to over 30 and icon 4 times. Love to hear that, right?
Yeah, happy to. Absolutely.
So you said November is kind of when you started the agent attraction. When did you really get serious about it, that you said, hey, I can throw up EXP all over everybody, as we say, right? Or I can really get serious about a specific strategy. When do you think that came into play?
I think it was not long after Stephen came, my first guy came. I actually started paying for education on that. Like my coach at the time, Jackie Bowman, she was putting on like a 6-week, seminar type of thing that was like $4.95 or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's worth it, to be around other agents that are talking, attraction, and she would bring on some, people that were pretty influential and had big organizations and things like that.
Okay.
So I was learning from those people. So it wasn't very long after I attracted my first agent that I started actually trying to understand the language and learn it. Because I have those limiting beliefs and the fear of,
Mhm.
and then it wasn't until just recently where I actually started cold calling. And then I was in the rock star agent little sample test competition. I am super competitive. I'm uber competitive. There was one day in this competition that I called 100 people in one sitting. I was like, I am not going to stop until I hit 100 agents. And that took a long time. I don't know that I would suggest doing that. But it was a lot of conversations.
And did you get any out of it?
Yeah, actually, well, a lot of people, I was calling to go to an event, so I felt like I was a little bit, wasn't calling to share the model, which I've done that as well. And sometimes I you get a little gun shy about making those calls, but I have several agents in my organization to this day. I cold called to show the model, and they say thank you. Thank you,
Oh,
Julie, for calling me. I needed you to call me that day. And so that helps me pick up that phone and go, I'm just looking for that one agent that
mhm.
is expecting my call.
I love that. Let's get into some actionable steps, because I have a list of questions written here, and I there's so many ways we could go and so little time to go there, right? I mean, I know you all are like, Becky, you got an hour, but seriously. So I'd like to specifically dive into the events, right? Because a lot of folks are like, I really love to just meet with people and build relationships.
Yeah, that's how
So
I do it usually.
okay, that's how you do it usually. So from a tactical standpoint, we know the why, right? The why, it's easier to create relationships, you come from contribution, all of those things. But what is it what are the tactical I guess steps that you take? So for example, if you could run through with us, what kind of events do you do? How far apart are they spread, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then we'll get into how you're doing it. So if you could just kind of take
Yeah.
that and run with it, you guys get your pencils out, your paper, take some notes.
Okay. So I partner with a lender who has the same vision as I do, who has the same come from contribution personality, and we are failing forward with this because we started let's do this at restaurants, and let's feed them food and alcohol. We did all the things, we split it, and yeah, now we're at a flooring company that's modern and is amazing, and we bring some snacks maybe. but it doesn't I mean, it's the people still come. And so what we decided we would do is we would plan out a calendar of once a month, and we try and keep it on the same day every month, the second Tuesday from 1 to 3.
Okay.
And we make it topics that we think that pertain to the time of year and the age in agents. So we've done accounting. We usually have a panel of people that come, that sit up, and I moderate it. I basically sit up there and ask them, whoever is volunteering to have me, interview them in front of a bunch of agents. And we've had home inspectors, accountants, we've had agents that are top producers stand up there and share their whole presentation of a listing, or a buyer's presentation. We've had stagers, we've had AI. That was one of our biggest ones. We had Justin from Sphere Rocket come, because I use a Sphere Rocket for VAs. That was a big one too. And yeah, so we just come from contribution and the time of year. What are people, we've done fitness stuff, taking care of yourself, all those kind of things.
So my next question is for you, when you say you moderate the panel, and like I said, I'm going to dive deep if that's okay, because I think people want the deets, right? They want the deets and details for those of you that aren't as, savvy as I am. Actually, I'm not. I'm in my 50s and I learned all this stuff from the younger generation. But so for those that want the deets, when you talk about the panel, are these the panel, or do you invite realtors from other companies? Is it just so tell us about
our first event we ever had. We had it at a distillery, and we had 4 agents, and they were all 4 from different brokerages, and they were sharing how they became successful. I mean, and they were getting deep, and they were getting people cried because it was so emotional about how like Jennifer Lilly, how she first started and she was going to open houses and nobody was coming, and now she's this huge icon producing agent that I'm still trying to work on getting over here to EXP, by the way. So I just reach out to people that I think are influential and ask them if they would be willing to share a little bit about whatever topic we're going to talk about. So far it's working.
How do you market it, Julie? I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but
how
do you market? So you get this panel, and how do you market it to get agents there? Is it an EXP event or no?
Yeah, so my lender friend and I, David, we call it Leverage Up Real Estate Events. We have a Facebook page that you can request to be a member of, and we're trying to keep it, to people that have come to the events, and we pour into that Facebook group with, valuable information, we think. Sorry. And so I cold call to the event. Now that we're doing it at area floors, they have a email blast of agents, like several thousand agents that they email blasted out to. It's a free event. We've talked about charging, but I go back and forth for that. People ask if it's CE credit, and I'm like, you know what, those aren't the kind of agents that we're trying to have come to these events that are just going to be a seat in the chair. We want somebody that really wants to learn about what we're talking about. So I don't want to make it CE credit. And the paying thing, I mean, I kind of go back and forth with it, because I think a little bit of skin in the game, you're going to get more people, because we do have a lot of people sign up and then they don't show up. But you know what? Even the more intimate ones are okay, because I try and communicate with everybody that comes, say hello, we have a little bit of time before and after to chat. But I do have a virtual assistant that does do an email drip campaign to about 5,000 agents. And I do this in Oregon right now. I am licensed in 3 states, but I'm not expanding into those other states as of yet. I cold call. My lender has 2 assistants that also cold call. And then of course my email drip campaign and social media is really how we're getting people there. And then really the beauty is in the follow-up. I mean, the fortune's in the follow-up. So I do a sign-in sheet, and I have to tell you, everybody that I've called, I think I'm at 100% ratio. I can get an appointment every time I call to say thank you for coming to the event. Do you have any feedback for us? And
Mhm.
then I just ask, what area do you work? Oh my gosh, I'm from here or I work over there. Hey, would you like some time to get coffee? We can chat. And every time it works.
Okay, I'm coming back to that. So for you guys who want to know how she segues into an appointment and how she closes, hang on, because we're going to get there. Before we go there, though, and if you have any questions, I want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, I am watching the live comments. So if you want to ask a question in the comment section, you can do that for Workplace Live. And then for those of you on Zoom, if you want to put something in the chat box, I can see that there. If you have something that you want me to ask Julie to get clarification or to ask her opinion of, or just to find out more about. So Julie, on the, I did want to just make one quick comment on the paying piece. There is someone in an area where I used to live, and she actually charges like $5 and it goes to charity.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's kind of a cool thing if someone
Yeah,
wanted to give to charity or whatever, and then you can have social media content about that you gave this amount of money to
that's
this
true.
charity for this month.
That's a good
So
tip. I'll have to talk to David about that. Yeah.
some just FYI on that. Okay, so going back to the actual event, so I see how you get folks there. What would you say is the number of folks you have to invite? What's the ratio? So if I cold called 35 people and invited them, how many are you getting when you look at that ratio that are showing up? What
Yeah.
percentage
So
would you
I
say?
would say if I'm calling 35 people, probably 20 of them will commit to coming, and then probably, 15 of them will show up.
That's good though. I mean, that's a pretty good ratio. That's a 50%. I think that that's really, really good. And are you finding it's the same agents every month, or are you getting different agents each month?
I am definitely seeing this a lot of the same agents coming, but we also are getting a handful of new ones every time as well.
I
So,
love that. And so
yeah,
you're just completely re-certifying that
yeah.
relationship. What production levels are you predominantly seeing show up?
Um, I think they're all over the board, to be honest. I mean, I've
Good.
seen brand new agents, and then I've also seen some producers in there. Yeah.
That's great. That's really good. All right. Awesome. 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 Okay. So guys, please ask some questions if you have any. How did you go about figuring out where you were going to have these? Because I think the one question that I know comes to my mind, and I don't know about Joel, Darren, and Michael, I don't know what you guys think since you're on Zoom here, but the one question that comes to my mind is what's the first step in finding a location that doesn't cost anything? So what's some of the process that you went through for that?
Yeah, so we just tried to tap into some relationships that we had in the past, and we, asked them if, we could host it at their facility. And like we did it at a winery, we've done it at a distillery, we've had it at a pizza place. And these are, relationships that we've had. Now area floors, because I'm a contractor, I had a relationship with that business. So Andrea lets us, they love real estate agents because we help remodel homes and things like that. So they love hosting real estate agents, and they don't charge us. So, and then they have a screen projector. They have, big tables. We can have a lot of, quite a few people there. And, now we just have a table where we bring in food. They let us bring in whatever food we want. So, one year I did host an event a couple of years ago where my coach came out, and she's actually spoke this year as well. She flew out, but, I had a food cart come, so that was kind of fun. But
Cool.
yeah, so it's relationships, and you go seek out those relationships and ask them, you know, if they want to be a part of what you're doing.
I love that. We have a question. Michael's wondering, how long is your event?
Oh, they're from 1 to 3, so for 2 hours.
Cool. In the middle of the day. That's awesome. Did you,
Yeah.
did you kind of test what would be the better times and dates, or did you just go with what worked for you?
We've always wanted to just keep it, we just strategized on our, you know, amongst each other. Like, we thought, you know, the second Tuesday, you know, it's not a Monday, it's not a Friday, and it's in the middle of the day. We tried to be mindful of when kids were in school and out of school and those kind of things. So that's how we picked it, really.
Awesome. Love it. So tell us about how you get to an appointment and then how EXP is introduced.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a natural conversation whenever you are talking with somebody in person like that. You know, you ask them about how long they've been in business and what's working for them and that kind of thing. It's about them, and then they naturally ask, you know, a little bit about you, and then you know, kind of share. So yeah, it just comes natural. The conversation goes there once you are in person. I mean, I don't have like a script, especially if I'm in person, that it's just come from the heart. And how can you help them? You know, like, oh, I have a stager, you got to use her, she's amazing. Or, you know, I have an inspector, or, you know, or do you, you know, I have, okay, so just recently I've been working on this agent. I've been working on a lot of agents actually, and they're all starting to come. Like, a lot of them are thinking they might come to EXP Con, and I'm like, there's like 5 of them and they're not with EXP. And I'm like, whoa.
Great.
So there's this one agent that was going out of town just this last week, and I've been trying to get him to EXP for probably 2 years. And he said, hey, Julie, do you have any agents, you know, in this area? I'm out of town until Friday, and I need 2 showings. I'll pay $50, you know, a house or a door. And I'm like, heck yeah. So I reach out to my team of people that I have, and I'm like, hey, who can open a door? Of course, Teresa said, sure, no problem. So Teresa took care of him. The next day he texts me again. Hey, Julie, what about in Newburgh? I got another showing in Newburgh. I reached out to one of my gals, newer gal, Lori, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll help out. So she helps him out. Long story short, she just Lori got a cash buyer from that. That was looking Lou in the window and ended up writing on a different house. So good for her.
Yeah.
I told her, oh, it's just like the go giver. You do something good and now you are being rewarded. But Andrew, I text messaged him on Saturday and I said, hey, how did you get any offers in for your you know, couple of showings that you had? And he goes, yeah, I got 2 under contract, thank you so much. And I'm like, yes.
Wonderful.
And I made some silly comment about having a team of people. I'll read you what I wrote. It's super funny. I like to be just funny. What did I say? I just said, did you get one of your showings under contract? And he said, he goes, we got 2 under contract. And I said, wow, fabulous. Glad it worked out. I said, go team EXP. And then I said, here's the join app. And I sent it. And I go, just kidding. But seriously, my team is always here to help.
I love that. Did he respond?
Yeah, he goes, I really appreciate your help, Julie. It was so helpful. And yeah, he's, I just am like, I just am coming from contribution. Yeah, he'll come.
He will.
Time is right.
Time is right. Tell us can you share a little bit about your follow-up process? Do you have something that's more kind of set it and forget it, or is it a combination of a couple of things?
Well, I just started using Follow Up Boss. Trying to get used to that because I'm a hot mess. I usually am constantly prospecting and on the go. And so for me at the end of the, I'm trying to, at the end of the day, come and actually, I've tried several things like voice texting. I just met with this agent. This is what they said, because now I'm going to another. Sometimes I've had 3 appointments in one day, going from one coffee appointment to one happy hour with wine or whatever. I mean, I'm all over the board. And I think I had like 7 appointments in one week, with agents, different agents all over the place. And so that's a lot of follow up after you have those meetings. Then you got to continue to nurture and follow up. And so um I'm still work in progress with the Follow Up Boss because that's new to me. But I am getting better at that. And but I feel like it's instinct for me, like, oh, I haven't talked to her in a while, it's time to say hello. and
Mm.
and then I'll pick up the phone and I'll call or I'll text or whatever. So I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm sending cards, because I'm a huge user of send out cards. If anyone wants my link to send out cards, I use that. Because I met with a couple of agents recently, and also recently I've been asking people, I think we talked about this last time, to show me their numbers, and I will work up a spreadsheet of their numbers, and then I'll meet with them to go over them. And then I'll send them a card and say, thank you for, meeting with me and letting me, talk about it. And
Mhm.
I think that goes a long ways, because sending a card, just saying thank you is, it's time out of your day and it's a big deal.
Um, can you, when we finish this broadcast, will you go into Workplace and put the link for send out cards in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
comments? Would you do that for us? And then that way
100%.
everyone who's listening, anyone who watches this later, they can get the link.
Yeah.
So let's talk about going through the numbers. Now, I don't know about the folks that are listening, but for me, I'm new to EXP just in the last year, and that seems a little bit intimidating, right? How do you go through the numbers? So for those that haven't heard you talk about that before, can you talk about like where, what you do, who taught you this? Where could someone else go to learn it, right? So they can have that numbers conversation. Because I believe you've said in the past that when you show people what the opportunity here for EXP to build wealth is compared to where they are right now, it's very eye-opening for them, right? So
Yeah.
how does someone start that process to learn how to do it and then actually do it?
Well, I feel like my attraction journey has just been being in the right rooms. So I constantly am trying to, I'm a student, and so being in the right room. So I happened to be in a room one day when somebody was sharing a spreadsheet that they created, and I reached out later and asked if they would share it with me, and so they did. And so I'm using that spreadsheet. And it's just been recently where I have asked people to give me their numbers, and oddly enough, they're happy to. Like I've had a Remax gal, a John O. Scott gal, another a smaller mom and pop shop, couple of agents there have. I mean, it's like they're happy to share. And then you plug in the numbers into this spreadsheet where one side has EXP and the other side has the XYZ brokerage. And you go through the numbers, right? Their sales, production, their average sale, how many units they have sold. And then you go, is there a franchise fee? Is there technology fee? Is there a
Split, like a
fee or split, well, what their split is, all those things are added in there. And then at the end, you get the difference, and the spreadsheet does the math. And then there's a section where the other side, like, you can't, there isn't any numbers on that side, which is the stock, right? You get $200 when you sell your first deal. Every single year you will get $200 in stock. When you cap with the company, you get 400 in stock. When you bring on an agent and they sell their first transaction, you get stock 400. You got to know you gotta be a student. You gotta know your facts. And the only way you're gonna know those things is if you're in the right rooms. And that's where I've gotten my confidence on how to speak. And I don't think I, spit up EXP anymore. I know I do a lot of, I'm still in production, obviously, since I'm iconing today. I know now, like, I've got an agent that I think's from John L. Scott that's coming to EXP. I think he's coming to the EXP con, and he tried to talk to me about EXP at a walkthrough. And I said, for the first time, I said, you know what? It's not really the right time to talk about EXP. Why don't I meet you for dinner, and we can, we can go over it then, and I'll show you the model and a whole 9 yards. So he was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So, so now I have had that conversation. I have gotten his numbers. I've had that meeting as well. And it's, and really I check on him, right? I mean, I've been on the texting with him even this morning, right? So it's like, you just follow up with people and you start to know instinct wise. It's like funny, I have a couple of sisters, and my parents told me that if you put all of us out in the wild, who would survive? It would be Julie, because she's street smart. Well, I've never forgotten that. I think I am. I think I kind of know how to react at certain times in the wild. And it's wild out here.
And it's wild out here. Well, you have to do what works for you, right? I mean, you either can be a set it and forget it kind of person and then, do little things in between, or someone like you that's just constantly got it on your mind. The bottom line is that however you figure it out, follow up is where the fortune is at, is what I'm hearing you say. Because if you've got 16 in your front line and 12 qualifying, right? Then what that means is that you've had a lot of events. So that tells, and a lot of appointments. So that tells me that since those haven't converted yet, you have a lot of people in your pipeline.
Yeah,
and I think that's what, right? So if you were to put a number on the number of agents that you've been in a relationship with, that you've had conversations with, that are in your pipeline, what would that be?
20. I think I'm at 20. I think I'm correlating 20 relationships that will come. It's just a matter of several of them are going to be the end of the year. Several of them are thinking about right now. I mean, yeah. And some of them are brokerages. Some of them are brokerages that I'm, like, I got this one guy that's got 18 brokers in his brokerage. And so what am I doing? Playing golf with him. Setting up once a month, we go play golf. We don't even talk about real estate, right? I'm just curtailing that relationship. It will come. It will come. And I had a meeting with my coach this morning, and I told him about there's 5 agents that are, talking about coming to EXPCon, which would be crazy. And I said, you know what? I used to think, I used to be, like almost like scared that they would actually go to, somebody would poach
They would
them.
actually want to go.
Well, that, and if they came, would they sign on with someone else, right? Would somebody else poach them? And I don't feel that way anymore. I used to not want to bring an agent to EXP event because I used to be afraid somebody would take them. That's living in fear. For me, these people are here because of me and if they came, they would want to be around me and the organization and the culture that I'm building. And so I don't have that fear anymore, because if they join under someone else, they're not my people anyways then, right? I want people that want to be around what I'm growing, and good for them if they feel somebody else can, is where they need to be. But I don't have that fear anymore.
I wonder how everyone, who's on this call right now, how would your life change if you were like Julie and joined EXP back in 2019, currently with 16 in your front line, soon to be 12 qualifiers, and to have 20 in your pipeline that are going to probably come in the next 12 months to put you to around 36 agents? That's got to be life-changing. So Julie, I want to ask you, what has changed for you how has this company and what you've done changed your family situate? How's it benefited you, your family, what EXP's offered?
Well, I have just correction. I have 39 in my entire group.
Oh,
I just have
39, your entire
I
group.
just
Yeah.
have 16 on my front line, 12 qualifying, but yeah, I have 39 in my entire group. But and by the way, one side note to before I answer your question is in these meetings and these like meeting with Darren, like he's done a third way validation call. In fact, with Jonathan that I'm speaking about, the John L. Scott agent, and Darren actually did a call and he did amazing at it, by the way. And I did send Jonathan the join app and he did fill it out. And that was help with Darren. He's like, what else do you need? Why don't you just send him the app? But oh no, I just lost my train of thought.
I do want to make sure I say, so 39 in your entire, 16 in your front, 12 that are frontline qualifiers, but 39, and you have 20 in your pipeline.
Yeah.
Incredible, incredible, incredible.
Oh, I know now what I was going to say. I know
Yes.
now what I was going to say. I was going to say in all these groups, like I'm meeting with Darren, or my husband and I went up to Canada this weekend for vacation for the weekend, and I knew Simone Russo, who is in a lot of our revenue share stuff. I met her and her husband in person, and so that was super cool. This weekend I'm going to be in Coeur d'Alene, so I have plans to meet with Cari, and it's those relationships are number one, how I am growing. It's given me confidence. I learned that Simone has 396 in her group, and she came on to EXP a month after me. And she has 396 in her organization. So clearly I'm doing something wrong, right? I'm just a little behind her. But it's just being around people that are inspiring and giving me this energy, which is attracting me more people, which is attracting me production. It's just all kind of correlating. So back to your question about my life and where it would be, or what was the question?
So, well, first of all, I want to say thank you for sharing that, because I'm going to go back to what you said. You said my attraction journey is about being in the right rooms, and you started off talking about Darren, and then you're talking about folks that are in EXP that you're expanding and going out and seeing these people. And I just think that that's a really important point to make, is that you have to show up and put yourself in a room with people that you're just going to, through osmosis, you're going to get this stuff, right? And you have to hear it over and over and over again. So thank you for sharing that.
One of my mottos was to get in the rooms I feel I don't belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you will belong. You will belong when you get there, right?
Yeah, I want to hang around people who inspire me, who lift me up, who give me that energy, and I aspire to be. I'm not envious or jealousy or nothing like that. I'm like, I mean, like Darren, I mean, he's on a freaking yacht every time I see him.
Hey, you know what? What we focus on manifests, and who we hang around with is who we become.
100%.
I can tell you that I hang out, Darren, with you and Julie a lot, and I love it. You guys are constantly challenging me.
Yeah.
How's this changed the life of you, Julie, and your family, this opportunity?
Wow. Well, it's priceless. It really is. I mean, I'm the relationships are priceless. All the people in my organization I am close with, and I have a vested interest in them succeeding. So I'm super excited because I've been watching that FLQA number, and I knew it was going to grow because I'm helping these people grow. I'm pouring into them. I'm just trying to help them get to where they want to be. Some of them maybe only want to sell a couple homes a year, and that's great. That's perfect for them, right? And others want to, icon or whatever. So it's one of those things where it's the relationships for me that fill my heart, and that's what keeps me going. And then the money is almost like a side thing that's happening. It's like, that's great because money buys a lot of things, right? And helps a lot of people. But really what fills my cup is waking up in the morning. I'm like, I can't get up early enough in the morning, and I go to bed late and I probably can't sustain this forever, but I'm not tired because I have so much energy. I really feel like I'm living the dream, to be honest.
You're on fire. And you know what? It comes through very authentically. And I know that one of the things, there's this misconception that you can't be in production and you can't grow your rev share at the same time. And I think it's really interesting that here you are, a 4-time icon. You have 39 people, team members in your group, that your business partners, and 20 in your pipeline, and you have a healthy business and all of those things. So how do you do both?
Again, I think they all correlate. Like the other day, you might have heard me share, or Darren or whatever, but I had someone cancel an appointment with me, and I wasn't sad. I was like, oh, it's a lottery of time. I don't know if you've ever heard Hank Avink say that, but that's where I got it, that term. It's a lottery of time. What am I going to do with my time? I'm going to go get a pedicure. Yeah. I was like, finally something for myself. So what did I do for the hour or 15 I was there? I was on my phone. I was prospecting the whole hour and 15. I'm like texting. I'm, making calls. I'm like, I think I had like 60 text chats going. I was like, holy crap, if everyone responds, I'm going to be crazy. But I used that whole time to catch up and follow up. So yeah, I was getting a pedicure, but I was also not in an appointment. I was able to have multiple conversations via text or phone call, and it was awesome. Cool. So they all kind of correlate everything.
Two more questions and one more question and one more ask for a favor, and then we're going to probably have our time up. But Michael's asked, I've heard that production drives attraction. How important is it to be in production in order to attract?
It is how I attract. And to me, my coach asked me, he said, you should get out of production. And I said, I about hit the floor. I'm not ready for that. Because it is how I attract, because I feel like I'm in the trenches with them, right? I feel like I can relate. Oh yes, I know that, or I have people, let me help you. I got a stager, I got an inspector, I've got a plumber, I've got all these things. And because I have relationships with them and I'm, nurturing them. So I feel like for me, I feel that right now, that's how I'm attracting.
And then on the opposite, I love that, Julie and Michael, I'm going to put Darren on the spot. On the opposite side of that, Darren, you're not in production, right? Is that correct? Or you're not in production?
Very, very minimal. I spend the majority of my time recruiting.
Yeah. So can you, from your perspective, because Michael, this is just going to, I think, boil down to someone's perspective and what you feel good about. Darren, can you speak to that same question? He said, I've heard that production drives attraction. How important is it to be in production in order to?
I'll kind of phrase it this way. Everybody has their own style and their own flavor. But I will say this, the commonality between the different philosophies is you still come from a position of value. As a producing agent, you have a tremendous amount of value because you can take other agents and bring them alongside you, and you can show them how to produce and how to be a better agent. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, what I've learned is I've actually developed skills on how to do production. I've become certified as an AI agent. I'm a kvcore coach. I actually do prospecting and build my database. I get about 150 to 200 brand new leads every month for free. And I give a lot of those out to some of my agents as referrals. I do a lot of referral business in other states, but that's not my main focus. But so I still have the value to give, because if you just go out, if you have no value, then why are they going to come to you? How are you going to attract them? So whether you're out of production or in production, you still have to have value to give them. And so that's what I do. My value comes from my skill sets and my commitment to what it is that I'm doing. Because when I bring a new agent on, you know, most of the people that I'm going after are at least capping agents and above. So I'm not bringing the newer agents on. So I'm not spending a lot of my time teaching people how to do real estate. They already know how to do that. But I can absolutely show them how to go to the next level and actually how to use the tools that are available to them inside and outside of EXP to make that happen. So that's just kind of my
love that. You can plus their production. You can help them 10x it by taking what they know how to do and actually plug into systems that are going to help them do more. I love that. That's fantastic. Okay. So last thing, Michael, thank you for the question. Last thing is I'm getting folks asking, they get a copy of the spreadsheet that you have?
Sure. I mean, I didn't create it, but I can share it.
So when you put that send out cards, I think it is that you said you were talking about send out card link whenever with this, it's going to be posted here in just a second once we finish. Would you share the spreadsheet as well? That way when folks watch this later on, they can tie into that and have that to use.
Sure.
Awesome. You guys, this has been amazing. I've been so excited about this because I myself have wanted to put events into play. And Julie, you have really helped me so much with a lot of the information that you've shared. All right, guys, you got it. You've heard from Darren. You can go cold call. You heard from Julie. You can go do events, all kinds of ways. And for you to attract, it's just what fits your style. And here's the number one thing you have to do. You have to start. You have to start.
Definitely. Yeah.
You have to start.
Your own head.
You have to go from listening to doing, right?
Just like Nike, just do it.
Just
do
do it.
That's right. That's my hometown right here. Just do it.
Well, you know, here's the problem with most people that get into agent attraction is that they do it for 5 minutes and they get a little bit of rejection and then they stop. The reality is that if you can get past that and make it a daily blocked time that you actually incorporate it as part of your business plan, and you don't have to do it 8 hours a day. Do 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes every other day or 30 minutes once a week. But whatever you do, commit to it and do it, and you'll get better and better and better. Your conversations will get better, and you'll learn to come from a position of value to people because that's what they're looking for right now, especially in this market.
Yeah, that's what has happened with me.
Yeah.
So I will end on this, guys. I heard Julie say The Go Giver many, many times. So if you haven't read The Go Giver, read it. And Darren talks about Go for No. Go for No. It's a great book. It's called Go for No. I've read it. I love it. Go get the 2 books. Go get those 2 books and it'll help you put yourself in some rooms with some other folks that are doing some things that you want to do and have the life that you want to have and the business that you want to have, and you'll attract it. Julie, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Thank you for giving your time and your information. Darren, Michael, Joel, thank you for being on the call with us. And for all of you that were watching live, we'll see you next Monday for our Rev Share at 1 p.m. Eastern. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.